Hey guys, thanks for stopping by my channel. My name is Fatima, and on this channel we talk about faith, soul, and beauty. In today's video, I actually want to share a little bit about my testimony. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you've probably seen parts of it. I've shared a little snippet here in this video. If you click that little eye, I've shared a small snippet of it, but a few weeks ago I was realizing that I haven't shared the full story with you guys. And like I said, if you've been following me for a while, you've actually witnessed some of this on my channel. You've witnessed me going through my different phases and confusion and questioning. I actually met one of my subbies when I was in New Orleans, Berlin, and she was so sweet. And one of the things she said to me when she came up to me, literally, this was her words: I used to follow you when you were ratchet. Like, I've been following you since you were ratchet. And I died laughing, but I thought it was so funny. And she basically was talking about, like, before I was obviously a Christian, but just like when I was confused and I was doubtful and I was like, I didn't believe in anything, and I was just trying to discover. I was on this spiritual journey. So let's rewind, grab your tea, your popcorn, your snacks, your wine, whatever suits your fancy, and let's chat. So I'm dating my boyfriend. You guys have seen him on the channel. We're dating, and he grew up in church. I have a podcast with him where we talk about this a little bit, so I'll link that also. But he grew up in church, and when we started dating, I was one of those people that, like, I had went to church a little bit when I was younger, but it never really stuck. I was just going because I had to go. So once I was old enough to make the decision not to go, I didn't go. And my mom didn't like force us to go or anything like that, because she had stopped going at that point too. But what I remember is that once we started dating, the topic of like church kind of popped into my mind again. And I had one of my best friends at the time. She's still one of my best friends, Krista, if you're watching, hey. She was also like a super Christian, if I can label her as that. And this was when we were like in high school. So I'm going a few years before then, but when we were in high school, she would always try to like, come with me to church, come with me to this thing, and I just be like, no. Every once in a while I would go, but for the most part it was just a no. I was like, people in church are so judgmental, people in church are hypocrites, people in church are judgy, and like, you gotta look a certain way, you gotta dress a certain way, you gotta be perfect. No, I'm not going. And then when I started dating my boyfriend, he went to a church, but his church was completely different from any church I had ever been to. I didn't feel that judgment. I didn't feel the hypocrites. I didn't feel all of that, but it took me a really long time to go. Like, initially I was just very like, I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. Stop talking to me about it. Stop telling me about God. Stop telling me about Jesus. And we were dating. Like, this was a relationship, and I was legit like, I don't want to talk about that. Which is crazy now, because we talk about God all the time. Like, I want to say like just about every conversation at some point we talk about God. But yeah, I just remember being so anti-Christian. I was anti-Christian, and it was because I lacked the understanding. I lacked the understanding of a personal relationship, and not just doing the things to say I'm a Christian. I didn't realize that it wasn't just about going to church and dressing a certain way and not doing certain things. I didn't realize that it was about an intimate relationship, that it was about your purpose and your destiny. I didn't realize that. So because of that, I spent a lot of time soul searching. At one point we split, and that time was spent just really lost. Like, I'll post some pictures for you guys just so you can see like kind of how I used to dress and wear my hair, even though I feel like that doesn't really do anything. But I want to just show you guys just how different I was, if you don't remember or if you don't know. But yeah, I was definitely like, looking at my old self now, like some of the things that I was into and some of the people that I was into, I'm just like, you're a completely different person. Like, so yeah, like, I remember I spent maybe like a year and a half just feeling depressed, if I'm being honest. Depressed, just broken and defeated. And at the time I was not working. I had quit my job, and then I ended up in a really bad situation where I was just sleeping on couches of various family members. I was broke. And I remember I was working at Kmart making $7.25 per hour and sleeping on my sister's couch. And then I had to leave there and I was sleeping on my dad's couch. I have to leave there and I was sleeping on an air mattress at somebody else's house. It was just a hot mess. And that whole time I remember feeling so broken and so lost and so confused. And once I finally started to kind of like get my feet planted on the ground and I found a decent paying job, I moved in with my boyfriend's parents. So he was like in another state at the time, and I moved in with his family. Thank God that they let me move in with them. Hey, Miss Kathy, if you're watching. And I stayed with them for maybe like over a year, or maybe like about a year. Can't really remember. But during that time, I remember I started getting interested in God and spirituality and like really thinking like, okay, I feel like I'm ready to explore this now. So I finally moved and got my first apartment. If I could find the picture, I'll post it in here. I moved out. I got my first apartment ever. I was so proud of myself. Finally had a job that was making good money. And I found myself in a situation where I was alone for the first time in my life. Relationship wise and like just as an adult, like I was really single, and it kind of like sunk in a bit because it was no more of the like, you know, like that you're single but you're not single, like that in between. It was like, no, you're single, like you're really single and you live alone and you don't live near your family anymore. So it was just like a shock. I had to just like learn a lot about myself in a really lonely way. But I'm so grateful for that time, because had I not experienced that very lonely season, I would not be where I am right now. I wouldn't be able to help the women that I'm able to help with this channel, with coaching. I would not be able to do it had I not experienced that. So fast forward, I remember when I was in my first apartment, that was when I got really into Buddhism. So I went from being like complete, like almost an atheist. Like I didn't label myself as an atheist, but I had views of an atheist. Like I was very much like, I do not believe in this. Like, even though in the back of my mind, I was like, I know that there's something more. I know that this is not all that life is about, but I just didn't believe. So I think that was like around 2012 where I started to really explore. And I got really into Buddhism and really into Hinduism, and I was already into yoga. I started meditating heavily and deeply, like chakra meditations. I remember having very deep experiences with meditating, like very, very deep. Where I think about it now and I'm like, that was actually kind of scary. So I had those experiences, and I was just doing so much research and reading, and that felt right. You know why? Because it felt like the easy way out. It felt like I could be spiritual and believe in a God and love God, but I don't have to change anything about my lifestyle. I meditate, I do yoga when I feel like it, but I don't have to go to church. I don't have to tithe. I don't have to spend time with other believers. I didn't have to do any of that. I didn't have to stop listening to certain things, stop watching certain things, stop going to certain places. I didn't have to worry about having sex before marriage. Like, none of that mattered, because I was spiritual and not religious. And when I look back at that now, I know that that choice was because it was the easy way out. I wanted the label of knowing a God and being enlightened and being spiritual and being fake woke, but I didn't want the responsibility that actually came with getting to know God. And I quickly realized that that was not for me. And I knew that that was not for me because I was actually having a conversation with my older sister a few weeks ago, and she asked me, well, if you were into all those other religions, like, how did you finally decide on Christianity? And I remember explaining to her that, like, I didn't like make a decision. It was something that I feel like God selected me. God called me, and I just responded. And it's one of those things where all the other things that I was doing, all these spiritual things that I was doing, I still felt that same void that I felt years ago. So even though I thought I was doing all this stuff to be enlightened and be connected with higher power in the universe, I actually still felt that same void. I felt that same loneliness. I felt that same emptiness. And it wasn't until I decided to really give God a shot, like wholeheartedly say, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. Picked up a Bible. I remember the few people that did it for me here on YouTube. It was Chelsea Maria and Chase God TV, Joseph Solomon. And those two impacted my life so much, because when I first started out on this walk, they were two of the first people that I found on YouTube that really just made Christianity seem practical and real and not perfect. And maybe I'll do a video about my favorite YouTubers, Christian YouTubers. Thumbs up if you want to see that. So, I remember I started to take it serious, and I said, okay, let me really look into this. Let me really give this a shot. And I did. And I remember at first it was hard because I felt uncomfortable. I didn't like crying at church. I felt uncomfortable being around other people because I felt like they were already perfect. I felt like they already had it figured out and I didn't. So there was like insecurity there. And I slowly just started to get past that. Like I started to just spend more time in God's word and spend more time in God's presence, and honestly, I didn't change a lot of my actions. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Although I was getting more disciplined about trying to connect with God, I didn't stop having sex before marriage. I didn't do anything, honestly, that really was like me expressing this love outwardly until, I don't know, like maybe last year is when I got like really serious about it, where I started to change my actions and change the way I carried myself, where before it was all internal. Before it was all like, yeah, I'm going to do private studies and I'm going to go to church, but on the outside, I still looked like the world. So yeah, that is a glimpse into my journey. Really used to be ratchet. I hope I can find some pictures to put them in here. Really used to just believe in a lot of different things, but like I said, it wasn't me deeply believing. It wasn't a deep-rooted belief the way that I feel about God. It was the way that I feel about Jesus. Let me be correct here. It was very surface level, like, oh, this is cute, this is kind of trendy, this is acceptable. Like when you say, oh, I'm spiritual but I'm not religious, like people are like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's just like a cool hip thing to say almost. But when you say I'm a Christian, people are like, oh, like it's like a different response. Like it's not something that people are like eager to learn about, because in our minds we have this very clear defined version of what a Christian is. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that I learned for myself that the idea that I had about Christianity is actually not the truth at all. It's about personal relationship with God. It's not about following rules. And yes, there's certain things that you have to do. You have to change your lifestyle. But for me, changing my lifestyle didn't come the moment I said I'm a Christian. It didn't come the moment I said I'm saved or that I got saved. It didn't come at that very moment. It was a process. It's still a process. And that process, I experienced that process and started to have that process because of the love that I felt for God and the love that I felt that he had for me. It wasn't like the moment I went into a church, they were like, okay, now sign this paper and say that you will agree to dress modestly, no longer curse, no longer have sex. Like, it's not like that. It's just very like, you make that personal choice when you feel convicted to do so. And like I said, I feel like that started happening for me about like last year, where I really started to feel convicted on things and I've just been acting on it. So yeah, that's it. I don't want to make this video too long, but I did want to share some insight of my journey and what I've experienced. And like I said, I'll link those videos up below. And if you want to see my favorite Christian YouTubers, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, that's it. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. now I need to turn this fan on because it's hot. I don't have AC on. I don't have a fan on. I'm just recording because I love you guys and I'm trying to get this content up doing it. So I hope you appreciate it. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you head over to my website, fatimafarmer.com, and sign up for the free 7-day prayer journaling challenge. This challenge includes audio guides and prayers that you can download that will help you build your faith and a stronger relationship with God. I really hope that it's a blessing to you on your journey.